see where we're going. Okay, we got 11 folks. If you're just coming on board, please say hi. Give me your first name and just say hi in the question box and submit it. And then we'll get going. Hey, Ken from New Zealand. Great. Joe, observing. Great. Fantastic. Jim, Mike, John, Jade. Jade, glad you could make it. Hi from Hungary. Alida. Okay. Super. All right, let's get going. I'm not going to hold this up, and there'll definitely be a replay for this. All right. Okay, just some housekeeping things I want to go over with you folks. Okay. First things first, please turn off all distractions. If you have Skype running or Facebook or something like that, you can turn it off. I am doing the presentation over Google Hangouts on air tonight. If you don't know, Hangout generally takes a lot of resources to play back, so you probably want to turn those things off, and it'll be better for you anyways. There's a button you'll notice underneath the video player. If you could only click that when I ask you to do that. This is my way to do some interactive stuff when we're doing on-air type of Hangout on our website. Please enter questions in the form below, and I will try to do my best to do a Q&A at the end of the webinar. Hoping that I can answer all your questions and give you some insight as we go through this. Just a couple more things. If you want to expand the video, you can. There's an icon in the right-hand corner of the video player. You can expand it to full screen of your computer. And when it's time to click on the button, you just hit the escape key, and that'll bring you back down to a minimized window, and you can see that button. All right. If the video seems to be hanging on you and you need to refresh your browser, and you may actually need to restart the video stream, I do have the video stream going live for you. So hopefully that there won't be any issues on your end. Just one final check. Can everybody can hear me fine? Just type it in the chat box. Just need a couple of you to let me know that you can hear me fine, and we'll get going. Hi, Andrew. Okay. Are you going to coach? Who is Sean? Okay, that's a great question. I'm going to get in and answering that, Dave, very shortly. Kelly, great. Thank you for the audio check. I appreciate that. Okay, and that's going to lead me probably over to my next slide for you. And first of all, I want to talk about message response. I've seen a couple things in the forum or the group about message response. Well, what service is what? This was explained to me by Sean. Sean works directly for the company. I don't. I'm just like you. I am a user, and I'll get into a little bit about myself on the next slide. But message response is where you log in. And basically, for what I understand from talking with Sean or chatting with Sean, is basically push response, and that's where web notification and FB notifications really sit, okay? And then they came out with a new line last week called message contact. So, and that's where all the bots seem to be residing, okay? As far as tonight's training, we're gonna be focusing on the push response, okay? I personally think this is where it's at. I really don't think it's with the bots. As a marketer, there's a lot of loopholes we have to jump through when it comes to the messaging and dealing with Facebook, Skype. And what I've seen in the group is that it's just really difficult to get them approved. And I think if you use them anyway in a marketing capacity, you're probably could get your accounts banned. So I will be focusing all my training tonight on web notification and on FB notification. So nothing on message response. So if you think that's why you're on this tonight, I won't be doing any training on that whatsoever, okay? Okay, let's go over agenda. First thing I want to get into after I go through these slides is I want to talk about setting up browser notification. I know it's the very most basic thing. Hopefully most of you have been able to do this, but they've added a few new things in as of today, and I'll talk about them a little bit in that part of the training. We're going to go over setting up your Facebook notification list. There's been a lot of issues with setting up your app. I took the time over the weekend to put a very detailed, and I mean a very detailed cheat sheet together for you on actually setting up your apps when it comes to Facebook and for Facebook notification. And if you stick with me towards the end of the webinar, you'll get your hands on this cheat sheet, okay? There's been some talk, and I saw some questions on how do I actually integrate this into my website. So we're going to do some integrations with the popovers, direct links. We're going to do it on a site-wide and also at the page level. I know there's a couple of you who are on the call that have, you know, multiple sections of a WordPress, and you are asking, like, how do I do this? Well, I'm going to show you how to do this, okay? We're going to set up and send out some one-off notifications to your list. And then we'll go over some scenarios when it comes to setting up and sending out broadcast sequences, okay? I personally have not used this, but I have played around with it, and I do have a really good understanding of how it works. So we'll go over that. So that's really the training agenda, I believe, today, and we'll wrap up again. Like I said, if there's some questions I have not answered, please put them in the chat box, and I'll try to get them answered on this webinar. Okay, who am I and why should you be listening to me, okay? Well, first of all, I have over 19 years in web development and internet marketing. I built my first website in 1997 for a gym. So I was building websites for profit, you know, over 19 years ago. So I've been doing this stuff for a long time. I've been a business strategist. I work with businesses on, you know, looking at their processes and putting in systems and processes to help them streamline their business and save money. I also do some software development myself, for myself and for my clients. And I've worked with very large businesses, manages large marketing budgets, and I've actually, you know, worked with the mom and pops, maybe like some of the folks that are on this call today. The one thing I do want to stress here, I am not with message response, okay? I'm just a user, just like you, who saw there was a big issue there. And since one of my projects here is, you know, the Ninja Hacks Club, I took the opportunity to say, well, you know what, I'm going to try to help you folks that are having some, you know, problems with getting this up and running and start to use it. So with that said, let's get right into building our first thing. And the first thing we're going to do tonight is we're going to go over setting up browser notification. So I got some tabs up here. So the first thing we're going to do is go over this in a new list. And again, some of this may be new hat for you, and some of it may not be. So you're going to click on new list, all right? And you got to give it a domain name. It's very unique. And so I think I have something set up here off screen already for this. So let's see if I can get this put in place here for us. So let's do a unique name, webinar test, and we'll call this web, okay? Now, they've given some options over the last couple weeks, what we can do as far as we can have a timeout here. I think what is a really good strategy of using the pop over is on an exit pop, okay? So I like to use it on a leave, all right? And I also like to put it in the upper right-hand corner. So as they're leaving and they're actually clicking on the back button, this is showing up. Now, with this type of thing, you really want to put it on some type of, you know, day cycle. I would say 2 or 3 days is a good day cycle. You want to do that. Now, you may also notice this new thing that they just put in over the last 24 hours in capturing email. In the group today, I did a quick video on this, and they're not quite done with it. If you want to do email capture before it goes over to this redirect URL, you're going to want to mark this as a yes, okay? All right. One moment here. Mark, the screen is blurry. Okay, you may need to look at your internet connection, and also, you know, down. This is a YouTube video, and down in the lower right-hand corner, you can adjust your viewing. If you have the capacity to see it in HD, you should be able to see this in HD. Okay, it's really an issue of your internet connection on your end. Okay, so a redirect URL, I'm just going to use my main domain, so we'll be putting that up there. Next, we need to set up a template. I've done very little with the customized version. Okay, I know there's been some talk about putting a video in there. Personally, I'm not doing that. I'm just keeping it really simple, and so giving it a title and something like that. So I'm gonna put in some copy, and this is like something that's like before you leave. And as you can see, we get some alerts going in. I actually sent out an alert. This was a testing of sending out an alert on a time basis. They just gave us the ability to actually time it based on our time zones. So we'll talk about that a little bit tonight. So title, before you leave, one of the things I do in my local consulting business is have a free course on Facebook advertisement. Put that here. And then we'll leave it as that. We'll choose an image. Pretty straightforward. I'm assuming that, by now this should be old hat for most of you guys. I like that. I want to create this and then I'm going to stop. Okay, I'm seeing something from Dave here. You're at from permissions to go full screen. You're not able to make this full screen, Dave? If you could type that back in the chat, you should be able to. If you put your cursor down the lower right-hand side, Dave, of the play bar, you should see YouTube, and right next to it, you'll see a little 4-bracket thing. If you click on that, that's going to go full screen for you, okay? Okay, so we have the list created, right? So that's the first thing we have done. Next, let's talk about, it says you need permissions, okay. That's odd because for some reason I have it running on another computer. I'm able to do that. Is anyone else having a difficult time making that full screen? Guess, Dave, no one's getting back with me on that. Okay, so if you click on the, okay, Shade's saying if you click on no, yes, no full screen. Okay, so, I don't know. Yes, click on the YouTube word and it'll open up to YouTube. Okay, everyone, if you could just jump over to the YouTube video, then you should be able to get full screen there. For some reason, permissions on this end, it's not allowing to do it. So if you click on YouTube, you'll go out to YouTube. Hopefully it will be able to get yourself back to my website. Okay. Full screen for me. Okay. All right. Seems like everybody is in play. Delete some of these things. All right. So now we have a web list or a browser notification. Okay. Real quickly, just over browser push notification. Just to reiterate, I saw something in the Facebook group again today. Is this works on Chrome, Firefox, and Safari on Mac for desktop, okay? And it also will do push notifications on the latest Samsung devices that are operating with Chrome. You also can get that on the mobile. So just to make sure people know that, if you think this is going to work on an iPhone or an iPad, this type of notification does not work. So, all right, let me go back to my cheat sheet of outlines of what I'm going to be doing here. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I want to get into talking about setting this up. I set up my lab, another WordPress install, where I'm going to walk you through how to put the pop-up code for this on site-wide, okay? So let's jump over to this. And so we're given the script and we're also given a direct link. So let's deal with you wanting to put the pop-up across your entire site, okay? Meaning that no matter what page they're on, they're going to be presented with an exit pop when they want to leave. Okay, so that's dealing with this code. Now, there's a couple plugins, and again, at the end of the webinar, I'm going to give you I'll give you a direct link for these 2 plugins that I'm going to go over with you today. And typically, they set right here in settings. The first one we're going to do is this header footer script insert. Okay. And the reason why you want to use something like this is that if you ever change out your theme, you're going to want to put this code or this plugin will carry you over to your next theme. Okay. You can go into the footer PHP of your theme and drop this code. But again, if you change out your theme, well, it stays, that's the old footer. So you want to use like a plugin like this to do something that is site-wide. I'm just going to put it in either one of these here in the scripts like this, and then hit save. When we do that, okay, what we're going to get is, now I'm going to launch this out, just open up in a new tab. Now we're in a site-wide situation. So if I go up and I try to exit this, I should be getting my pop-up. So see how that came up? And this is how you leave. When you try to close down that tab, it's going to pop it up. Now, no matter what page I'm on, right? If I was on, say, this page, again, the way this is set up, it's saying you need to do cancel. Now this will not show up at all over the next 3 days. So I'm going to go back into that script just so while we're working with this, we can get some changes. So that's how you can integrate the pop-up on a site-wide basis. Okay, let me go and change something real quickly with that. I'm just going to do this continue showing banner every time. Okay, and we'll do it on leave intent. So there we go. Okay, Miles, I believe we are moving on. All right. So next, doing a pop-up at a level. One of you had the question is like, okay, I got 4 categories to my blog, my website, and I want to build different lists. So first thing you would have to do is build a list for each of those segments of your market. Okay, so that would be segmentation. But now you want to be able to drop those on particular pages or pop-ups on particular pages when someone is on that page and you want them to segment onto that particular notification list. The way you do that, and you do it so you can do it very quickly, is using another plugin called Post Snippets. And again, at the end of the webinar, I got a resource page that's going to have these 2 plugins or links to these 2 plugins that you can add them to your WordPress. This is probably one of my power plugins. I really, really like this a lot. So if we go back over here and we get our code, again, this is if you want to use a pop-up on different pages. So on the marketing page now, if we go there and we try to exit, this pop-up will go up. If we go over to the development page, it won't launch. So update that. Okay. Okay, my options. Okay, thanks, Joe. So let's go back over here. Again, we put this on the internet marketing. Let's just get out of this real quickly. Click on internet marketing. We're here. And basically, hopefully this works. It's not the cookie, it's working. We'll find out. I think I need to add it to a page. Okay, forgot to add it to the page. So what we need to do now is, now that we've created this snippet, okay, when you create a page, and I got some pages in here, I got the home, I got web development. So let's create this page. What this plugin does, it puts this little thing right here, all right? And I'm gonna click on marketing, and I'm just gonna insert this tag, okay? It's a short code. So if you have a whole section on internet marketing and you wanna have this particular pop-up just for internet marketing, you could do that. And then you have another one for development. And so as you're building out your content, you can just put these little shortcodes that are pre-programmed into this plugin. And so that's how you can segment your list. Okay. If you could, in the chat box, let me know if you understand this before I move on. Yeah. I think my cookies are causing problems, but that's what should happen. All right. Probably another way to do this is, let's talk about the direct linking might be another way. Where on the page do you put it if the page is already built? What is the difference, by the way, by pasting the code directly? You could paste the code directly, okay, Shade, but creating shortcodes is going to help you, especially if you're doing a lot of content over and over in different areas. Like I'm running a blog, and if I want to completely segment into the different areas of interest, I would create 4 different lists, and as I'm building out that blog post, I would just use my shortcode. It saves me the time of going back into message response every single time and getting the code. Okay. Where do you put it on the page if it's already built? Dave, could you let me know that's at WordPress? If it's WordPress, you can go back into the page at any time and add these shortcodes. So if you have a pretty deep site, you may have to take a little bit of time and put the shortcodes on each of your different sections. Let's work with the direct link, which is, I think, a cleaner way to actually do things than the pop-up. Pop-up can be intrusive at times. I think it's okay to maybe have your pop-up on your homepage, but I think for your interior pages of your site, probably the better way to go is with a direct link with a button. So let's go over that example. Okay. So let's take this web development page and let's try to put a button on this page. So first thing we need to do is go and create a button. So let's edit this page. All right. So I want to put a button. Yes, WordPress. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Dave, you can go in and edit your pages. If it's really, really deep, well, just take a day and create your different list. Come in, edit your page, get this little plugin called Post Snippets, create your snippets, and then just go into each of your pages. Because again, when you click on it, they're right there. You simply just click on it and insert it. This is going to become real relevant when I show you the next thing I'm going to do. Okay. And is that we're going to create a button. So in the media library, I've already put a couple buttons. I believe I have something up here. Yeah, let's take this one, web notification. I'm just going to insert it. All right, I'm going to turn this into a button. What I'm doing is I've taken this direct link, and the first thing I'm going to do is turn this into an active link. I'm just going to paste this in, just like that, okay? Now that's an active link. Now I want to make this a reusable snippet for my pages. So I'm going to come in at the source code. I came over to text. I'm just going to copy this whole thing right here, okay? And take it right out. I'll save this because we're going to come back to this page. And then what I'm going to do is go into my settings, go to post snippets again. All right, and there's a development one. And now I'm going to put this button in just like that. So now this is a reusable snippet of code. All right, make sure that's updated. Close that. Close that. All right, so now we're on this development page. I'm going to refresh this. And I want to put that button, right? I want to get that button right in there. Make sure that's yellow page. I'm just going to come over here. I'm going to hit development. and I'm going to hit insert. So now we have the shortcode called development. If I hit update, what it's doing now, it's just making sure that's there. And if we look at the live page of this, you'll see now that we have a button, okay? And if you look down in the lower left-hand corner, you can see from when I roll over this, it's adding push notification. So when I click on this, it's going to take us through the process. And it'll redirect me out to whatever page I have set up in here. And I said my home page. So let's pause here for a second and see if there's any questions on how to use these two snippets. I really use this a lot. I mean, a lot. And part of the issue I had tonight with getting on was I didn't quite have something just right with this. But if you're using a lot of reusable snippets, you want to segment your list, and you have different categories you want to build on a very deep website. Create 4 different lists, 3 different lists, whatever it is. Create a direct link, create these little shortcodes, and as you're creating your content, you just drop them in just before you publish your content, okay? If you want to use the popover, you can do the same thing. Just put it in there, and you know, it will be there as a popover. Again, my personal use of the popover, it's okay for your home page, your interior pages. I would use a direct link with some type of call to action. One other note, if you plan on doing any marketing when it comes to popovers, both Google and Facebook have real issues with blocking users with any type of popover as they come in or as they try to exit. Typically, your ads will be banned, and if you're excessive use, I've seen accounts actually get closed. Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind when you're using a popover. It's better to probably use some type of direct linking in your page. So pretty easy so far, good. So if you want a popover on 4 different pages, give me a second here, Dave. Just gonna wrap my questions. All right. So you can confirm that we just added the user's email and name info because they are logged into Facebook. If they were not logged into Facebook, then what happens with push response? Okay, Joe, I will get that question. I'm not sure I can answer that question because the system, they really haven't finished what they plan on doing with Facebook. You're absolutely right. There are other programs out there that will do that. The way they're looking, that they're setting up the system that I can see so far is both with web and Facebook notifications, there's an intermediary page between whatever your redirect is and clicking the allow button is they're asking for an email, okay? I'm not sure whether or not with Facebook notifications they do have the ability to do that, but that's not what I can see in the system so far. So hopefully I've answered that for you. By popovers, do you mean exit intent? Yes, a popover is an exit intent shade. Anything, that little dynamic, if you're using this code right here, all right, that's going to generate a popover. You can, when you set up your list, you give it an intent. Is it 3-4 seconds when they're on the page it shows up? Is it as they're rolling their mouse up towards the top? That's an intent. Leave is actually trying to close or hit the back button, okay? So if you try to close a tab or hit the back button, that's leave. I think that's okay on your homepage. And I would definitely set it with, you know, some type of expiration of 3-4 days so they're not being constantly bombarded if they're at your site that much. Okay. Or can you put 4 different lines of code on just one snippet? You don't want to do that, David, if your goal is to segment a list, okay? Unless you're trying to give them 4 options on getting on 4 different lists, then yes, I guess you could do that. But if your goal is to give them a very targeted type of list to join where they're on a very targeted page, you just want to present them with one option. Again, a confused mind doesn't do things very well. So give them one option to the most, okay? Let me just kind of grayscale these. Can you only put one line of code in the snippet box like marketing? Okay, I think. Dave, you can put any HTML that you want into this plugin, okay? Let me get back over to that. This plugin right here is under settings. You can put any HTML that you want in here. As you can see, this is the button code, and here's the JavaScript, okay? So you can do anything you want there. Sorry, gang, I don't have a moderator, so. Okay, I think I got these all. Okay, before we move on, any more questions regarding integration into a site, whether it be at a global level or at the local page level? Again, for a global level, what you want to do is get a plugin called header and footer scripts. Again, I'm going to give you a link for that. And if you want to do things very localized and very targeted, and so you don't have to go back and forth into your message response account to get your codes, you're going to want to use something like post snippets, okay? Okay, Dave. Let me, what I meant by where on the page, oh my God, my page is already completely finished. Oh, yes, it does matter. Again, I don't know how your page is built. You may, if you're using a fancy theme, if you're going to be using a direct link with a button, yeah, you're definitely going to want to talk to your designer where that button goes. If you're going to do your popover, doesn't matter where the code goes. It's because it's not going to be seen. Okay, that JavaScript is in the HTML and it's not visible, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, Mark, I'm glad you like the post snippets. Yeah, I found this a couple years ago, and it's awesome. It saves me a lot of time, and some of my development I've actually put it in some of my other projects I've done myself. So yeah, good. If we've got this covered, let's move on. I want to move on now to Facebook notifications. We go a step by building a Facebook list. Okay, yeah, that's the next place we're getting to, Mark D. Who's having a really difficult time with getting their app set up with Facebook, not with the bots, but getting it for notification purposes, okay? You're doing a step by build on the list, not bots, but pro version list, okay. Thank you for the, I got it, great, perfect. Okay, we're gonna jump into, I'm gonna keep this open because I might come back. All right, over the weekend, I took the time to put together this very extensive PowerPoint presentation, which is a cheat sheet, which you're gonna be able to get your hands on, okay? But I can't seem to get the notifications to send. Okay, that's a good one, Mark, because we're gonna get into the whole sending part of things here in a little bit. And I think there's a step that you may be missing on why your notifications are not working, okay? So I'm going to run through this real quickly. Again, it'll be available for you, again, at the end of the presentation to utilize and keep as a cheat sheet for yourself in the future, or for an assistant that is going to have to get out and set up these things for you, okay? Again, Facebook has a way of changing things, so this is current as of today, but may not be current, a month from now. So with that said, step one, you're going to click on the Facebook. As far as the pro version, this is something that you need to buy. I bought this like 3 weeks ago, like everybody else. The Pro version, this was an upgrade for Facebook Notification Pro. And if you didn't buy it, then you probably don't see this. You may want to talk to Sean about getting a link to where you can purchase this. Okay. So step 2, you're going to make a new list. Step 3, you're going to give it a name, make sure it's unique. Go through and complete the process. I'm not going to go through these screens. We just did that with the web, pretty much the same process. You're going to go over to this link right here, okay? And this is an active link right here. So when you click on this in the cheat sheet, it'll take you right out to this page. You're going to go up to add a new app. Now, it really doesn't matter what you choose here, but just choose Facebook Canvas to make it easy. Then you're going to click on this. You're going to create an app. You're going to give your app a unique name. Something that I've learned when it comes to naming your apps, don't use FB or Facebook in naming your app because they won't allow it before trademark violations, okay? Just kind of keep that in mind when you're creating the name for your app. If I'm going too fast here, just tell me to slow down, okay? Next, you need to give it an email address and select a category. I usually select business, and I put in an email address of one of my accounts. And then number 9, you're just going to click Create App ID. You're going to go up to Skip Quick Start. All right, just click on that, and then we'll get into this. Next, you're going to have to get your app ID and your secret key, right? So click Show. You'll need to put in your password for your Facebook account to get this. Once you have those 2 numbers, you're going to go back over to your push. Once you have these 2 numbers, you're going to copy them, and you'll come over to here, and you'll paste them back in, and make sure you save that. Okay. Once you do that, there's just a couple more things you need to do back over on the Facebook side of things. All right. You're going to click on Settings. And then on 15, you're going to click Add Platform, okay? From there, you're going to click on Facebook Canvas. This is pretty important. We're doing a Facebook Canvas here, okay? Then you need to enter a secure HTTP push response URL. And down the lower bottom of the screen, you can see the format. Basically, it's your app name, which is basically a subdomain at pushresponse.net/Facebook, and don't forget the /, okay? You see this little warning sign here? Well, it's because I forgot when I did this, I forgot to put in the /. Once you have that secure canvas in, all you have to do is hit save, okay? Next, you need to turn on your app. So what you need to go is go back up to app review. This will be set to no, all right? Move it to yes. And if you go, this is about a little bit of personalization. So if you go into app details, you then want to upload an icon image for your app. So when a push notification goes out, instead of having that little Facebook box, you'll have an icon that identifies you. Key thing here, it needs to be 1024 by 1024 in pixels, and it needs to have what's called a transparent background. So have your designer do your image as a transparent PNG, okay? So you're gonna upload it, and then at the bottom of this page, you're just gonna scroll down and hit save. Next, you wanna go back up to My Apps, click on that, and then you'll get a list of all your apps, and look for the app that you just developed, and then make sure there's a green dot to it. And if you see the green dot, you're good to go. And the last thing we need to do here is just do a test. And as you can see, I had 0 here in this test I did. You want to grab the direct link. This is how I typically test. I go up to the browser, put it in, press enter, go through the process, and then make sure that I see account. And that's how easy it is to get notifications set up. Okay. Did I go through this too fast? If so, if you have any questions, let me know in the chat. Appreciate it. Any questions? Can I go on? Someone let me know. Yes, you can, Shade. You can subscribe to your own list. I've done it several times in my testing, so you should not be an issue. Like I said, you'll get this cheat sheet. If you've had some issues, you should have no problem. Okay, once the app is finished, what then? Great. We're moving on to the next section, Dave. Your app is the most important thing if you want to do Facebook as part of your communication to your list is sending out Facebook notifications. Then once you have that in place, you can then send them out. So let me get a link. Can you guys find your way back to my website? Because I know a lot of you are on YouTube watching this now. That's kind of... Because what I'm going to do is put my Facebook sample URL in play, and we'll give it a test. Okay. You guys back over to my website? Kelly, you're back on the website, back on the site. Okay. That button below the video, it should actually add you to the Facebook sample Facebook list. So if you could click on that, what we should be seeing happening is this list here should start growing through that process. Okay. Let me know. SK, do you need to have a different FB app for every Facebook page or website? Depends. You need to have a different Facebook app and if you're going to have a different list. So if you're going to be segmenting your list, all right, for different markets, then yes, you need to create a different app. If you just want to push everybody into the same list, then one app will do you. But if you're going to be creating multiple lists for Facebook, you need to create a very unique app for that and tie it to the list. Okay? All right. Well, some of you clicked the button. That's great. So we have 4 people that clicked the button. Super. As you can see now, we've created a list here, and that worked. All right, let me get back over to cheat sheet, sending out notifications. Okay, let's do some testing of sending out some notifications. So let's do a web one. Okay, let's focus on web. I'm going to change out that button here in a second. So let me get the button script here. I want this one. Yeah, that's what I want. I'm going to change that button out again. Okay. And we're going to work with a web response list. Okay. I've updated the button. So if you want to click on that now, we'll go through the process of adding a few people to the web notification list, which is this list right here. Okay. And then we'll do some testing of push notifications. So if you could add yourself to that list, it'd be great. Okay, while you're doing that, I'm going to go through some of these questions real quickly. Okay, Mark, we're going to do some FB notification stuff too, okay? Mark, as far as sending notifications out, I think there's a step you're missing that we'll go over here in a minute. Steve, is there a way to see the subscriber list? Okay, yeah. Let's do that. Okay, a bunch of you did this. Okay, so Mark, to answer your question, okay, subscriber list, what you want to do is go down to details, okay, and you'll have, they've added this column email today. So these are your subscribers. You'll have email addresses if you're going to use that interim pop-up for try to grab email addresses before passing them over to your website. Yes, but this is where you can see your list. Okay, so hopefully that will, does that answer your question, Mark? Make sure it's sharing here. Okay. Shade is wondering, are you concerned on mobile will not be able to receive your notifications? That's a great question. Okay. Right now, there's not uniformity across all platforms. You just need to take the biggest, slice of the pie. Well, as far as on web notifications, Internet Explorer is still probably the most widely used browser. Okay, probably outside of the internet marketing space. A lot of everyday people who have Windows computers use Internet Explorer or Edge as their browser. So push notifications doesn't work there. Far as Facebook notifications, it works great for desktop. I'm not 100% sure. I think notifications, they still come in to on your mobile Facebook page, Shade, okay? But you're not going to get that pop-up on your open screen or your start screen of your mobile phone. It really depends upon your market. So with that said, if you are heavily mobile, you're probably going to want to focus still using email as your primary method of building a list, okay? I will tell you this, I will probably be putting email in front of any type of push notification. And then the secondary for me would be getting them on a push type of list, because there's a segment of the market that just don't use any of these browsers or is on Facebook, okay? Hi, Linda. Are you watching? Linda, let me know if you're seeing the video. Yes, join, click the list. So you should be there. Let me refresh this. Okay. Yeah, Linda, if you click the button, you should get added to the list. I still only have 5 here, but that button will add you to the list. Okay. See how can you show us how to place email? Ooh, I'm not prepared to do that for you tonight, Mark. Basically, you would do opt-in, and your thank you page would have different ways for them to receive different notifications. So maybe a button for web notification, a button for Facebook notification. If we go over to my main page, and let me bring that up here real quickly, okay? Let's get this up. This is what I've done to kind of answer that question, as far as, how do you get people on different lists? Where I created this, and some of you may have seen this hack that I did, and I put up in the group. This button will put you on a web notification. It says, are you on any of these 3 browsers? Do it, great, not. Using Internet Explorer as your browser, click here. This puts them on a Facebook notification, okay? So what you would want is have an opt-in form first. The thank you page takes them to a page where you have a video, thank you for subscribing. The next step is to sign up for one of our notification alerts, so to make sure that you don't miss something. If you're on Chrome, Firefox, or Safari, get our web notifications, click the green button. If you're on Internet Explorer and you can get notifications via Facebook with us, click on this button. That's what I would do, okay? Okay, one question. So far, is this helpful, guys? Let me know. Sorry, Mark. Again, this is the only way I could get something that would broadcast it and get a recording. Mark, the way this works is really based on internet connection. This is basically a YouTube video that's streaming. If you have a low internet connection, typically it's going to drop its resolution down to 240. And if it's a high internet connection, then you can probably bump it up. On the right-hand side, excuse me one second, I'm going to go to another screen. Yeah, if you click on the there's on the YouTube video, on the YouTube side of things, there's a cogwheel. If you click on that, you'll look at the speed that it's delivering to you. If your internet connection will allow you to take a greater speed, you can click on HD, and so you can get this in 720. All right. Yes, sir. Yes, you're wonderful. I appreciate it. Extremely helpful. Great. Yes, I see the screen. Fantastic. Dr. Jean, your question is why? Why what? Thanks, Linda. Fantastic. Okay. All right. I'm just clearing up some of the questions and we'll move on. Okay, let's jump into actually sending some stuff out, okay? If you've, great, we got a little bigger of a list, fantastic. So we can do some push notification training. So let me get over to my notes. So they added a new feature today, and I'm going to do this with web, okay? So let's do a notification to the 6 view on the web. By the way, here's some of the stats. I sent out a video notification. I was utilizing the time to make sure 15 minutes after I started, it went off without a hitch. So your time, your ability to send out very localized broadcasts now is there. What you're going to want to do is go up to here, go into your account settings. Okay, I'm not going to go there for a couple reasons, but you're going to go in there and you should see a drop down in there now to put your localized time. Make sure you do that. So this way, when you set up your broadcast to go out on a schedule, you're doing it at your time. One thing about that when doing a schedule is that you probably have to set it up on a schedule 6 to 7 hours before you do it. If you try to do it any sooner than that, it's not going to allow you to do it. Okay, I've tried to do it on the hour, just not going to do it. So if you think you're going to be putting out a broadcast, do it in at least 5 or 6 hours before, and this way you'll be able to get it, and it will go off. It has to go off without a hitch for me. So let's do a new notification. Okay. All right, let's add a picture. And we're going to do this is brand new. I haven't tested this whatsoever. But the way this is supposed to work is I'm just copying, some stuff I already have done to kind of save us some time. So here's the message that needs to go out. Here's a picture. They've just added this in both at regular notifications and at the sequence level. I actually have a question that I need to get answered. As you can see, got a notification just went off. So if you want to set up a notification, like one notification or one message that goes off when someone joins your list, this is it. Okay, kind of like on an autoresponder that you can have a message that goes out when someone joins your list. This is where you do it now. You just click on yes here. And so when someone joins your list, whatever list we're going to assign here, this is where it will go out. I'm going to save this for now. And let's get that new list. I think this is it right here. And also let's get that FB list that we did. Here we are. Here's the FB list. So 2 lists here, right? I'm going to be sending web notification and also to the folks who signed up for web Facebook notification at the same time. Now this is the part I think a lot of people think when they hit save on an instant notification, it goes off. It doesn't. It just sets in queue, okay? So let's do an example of firing off immediately, and let's go over the lifetime, by the way. If you want this to only go off very over a short window, a period of time, meaning that you want to kill the push notification, say after 2 hours, not 24 hours, because the way notification works on browsers is that when that browser loads, okay, the person opens up that browser that it's connected to, and if it's within the window of this expiration time, it will then show them your message, okay? That's what it's going to do. So that's where you want to make sure that you set that window right. So what I've been doing, and if you've been getting my notifications, hopefully they're not too obnoxious, but the list that I have is kind of like all over. The small list I have is like kind of all over the world right now. So I've been doing repeat, okay? And I've been setting, this to 2 or 3, and I've been putting an interval between 5 to 10 hours in between my lifetime span. And I've been making my lifetime span for my hacks about 48 hours. So over a 48-hour period of time, what it's going to do, if you haven't clicked on that notification, it's going to make 3 attempts to have you click on that notification. And I'm separating those individual attempts by an interval of 5 to 6 hours that I'm setting here. Is that clear? If you could just let me know in the chat. Dr. Gene, you'll be getting a link to the cheat sheet at the end of the presentation, okay? Okay, great, awesome. So let's save this. We're going to do an instant broadcast. So here's where I think people, sorry for the motorcycle, it's 5 o'clock here. People coming home from work. All right. So I've stated this is where most people think they've actually sent out their notification. You haven't. If you go back to your notifications list, right? Here is where it's at. Okay. You need to click on send. Even if you schedule it, okay, in advance to go out at some point in time in the future, you need to click on send. Otherwise, it doesn't go out. This button actually should be send / activate for, especially if you scheduled it, because you need to go back to your list of notifications and then click send. So when I click on this, it's sending it out now. As you can see, it came down at the right-hand corner. Out of 15, 9 were delivered. Okay. So as you can see, that is what you need to do. I think, Mark, that was your question, is like, how come it's not going out? What you need to do, whether you're doing a notification, you're doing a sequence, you must activate that sequence or send that sequence once you've built it by clicking on send. All right. Even if you've set this at like this one right here that went out at 5:15 today, I built this morning at 9:30 in the morning. Once it was built, I clicked on send. It didn't go out, but it went out right on cue at 5:15. Okay, Kelly, at 48 hours, et cetera, makes sense. Question mark? I'm not quite sure what you're asking there. Okay, Dave, you've asked me a question. Steve, are you going to go over and show an example of doing push notification on not only your main profile, but on a page connected to your profile? So you're talking about a fan page, Dave? Is that what you're referring to? If you could let me know. Again, there's a latency between me and you when it comes to a Google On Air. Okay, shade. How many hours in advance do you have? You have to say you need to set up a notification to send to actually work. I believe you said 6 hours. Yes, Jade. If you want to send it out on a schedule, I would say 5 to 6 hours is what you need to do. If you try to do a schedule of 1 hour, the system is not going to allow you to do it. At least I haven't been able to get it to do it for me. Okay. So if you want to schedule a notification, whether it's a one-off notification or a series of notifications that you want to put out, then you need to schedule it 5 to 6 hours before. If you try to do it like almost immediately, like an hour before something, the system is not going to allow you to do it. I don't know what needs to happen in the back end to compile this all together, because there's thousands of users using the system. So I'm sure there's a lot of work that happens in the back end to make sure that these go off without a hitch. Dave, are you still with me? Okay. Dave asked another question. After someone sees the response note, then they click either no or yes. I'm assuming okay or cancel. Do you control where they go after they click on either one? If they click on cancel, they're closing down the. I'm assuming this is the pop-up. They're closing it down. They're going nowhere. If they click on yes, they're going through the process of getting on a list. And if you've put a redirection page in when you're setting up your list, that's where they'll be taken to. Okay. Dave, do you want to make an app for Facebook app for each of your pages? Again, if you're going to be putting a link, let's jump over to my Facebook page for that question. I think we have some questions about Facebook. By the way, so here's the notification that went out. I'm live right now. Okay. Yes, it is. That's Sean. I'll into it. So here are all the sample notifications that went out, right? I was on the list twice. These are other ones that went out as far as my testing. So yes, they go out. So let's go over to a page. Okay, so here's my page. Yes, I have 4 fan pages. So you get 4 fan pages, and there's a link on your fan page called sign up. So if you want to use this button and use the direct link, okay, let's go back over to list. All right, let's response, get the list. So here's the direct link for this, right? So you would use this link when setting up this button. So when they click on it, so if you have 4 different fan pages with 4 different topics and you want to make 4 different lists for each of those pages, yes, you would create 4 different lists. There's a hack out there that someone in the group put out there, which was brilliant, which kind of daisy chain a couple lists, meaning that you would put in here your link for your Facebook notification, which makes sense, but it redirected them inside the system to your web notification. So you take your web notification list, and I'll do something on this. I'm not going to go over it tonight, but I'll put something together real quickly as a hack that shows you how to daisy chain your 2 lists, okay? So Facebook to a web, so you're actually building multiple lists. So Dave says, yes, I have 4 different fan pages. Dave, hopefully I've answered your question. You're going to want to create 4 different lists, web notification. You want to put that link right here, just like that. That's one of my push notification list. And so for every single fan page that you have, I would highly recommend that you create 4 different Facebook lists, which would require you to create 4 different apps. Hopefully that answers that. I'm just going to clear up some of my questions. Okay. Dr. Jean, this will be what you'll be getting access to at the end of the webinar. Okay, let me get back to my notes here. Okay, so we've set up notifications. We've sent it out. Let's talk about broadcast. Is that something you guys want to kind of go over? And doing sequences, I should say here. All right, just to save time, I put some sequences together. Trying to construct this on a webinar would take too long. The one thing I would say about constructing your sequences, first thing first. Great, yes, please. Is you want to pretty much outline these, okay? And what I've done, let me scroll this down. What I would highly recommend that you do before you get into putting a sequence together is to line them out exactly what you want to do, what you want to say, and how many messages you want to do it in, okay? So that's the first thing I would have you do when trying to structure a sequence, because you can get lost pretty quickly without getting it all lined up, okay? So let me put that back over here. we're getting to the end, Mike. As far as wrapping this up, this is the last section I'm going to go over, and then we'll do a Q&A. Okay. And anyone who wants to stay on, I'll answer any questions that I can do. So, all right, sequences. Basically, we have a pixel and we have a click. They started off with click. So let's jump into this sequence, okay? So what I just showed you is this sequence right here. And probably you would use clicks when you're really not trying to get a conversion data. And a conversion for me would be not so much them signing up for something because you already have them on a list unless you're segmenting. But if you're trying to just get them to see a series of trainings or videos, using the click format is probably the way you want to go, okay? One of the things you want to keep in mind right now that there is a problem. So here's the series that I put together. And this is a bug, and I have brought it to Sean's attention. And what it is that the image is not being loaded. So when you're building out your sequences and you're adding the image, if you go back and check, you literally have to go back into this and add it all the way out, okay? And click update. Then it's added back in. So if we go back out to sequences, we click on this sequence, go on this, whoops, here, sequences, list of sequences. Now you can see that this image was added, okay? Just kind of keep that in mind right now. I'm sure they're going to get this fixed in the very near future, but definitely make sure that you get that squared away like that. Okay, about a week or so or two ago, they added in a conversion. So how I see using the conversion is that you have an objective, a single objective, and you want to get them down a path, okay? So conversion point, by the way, when you click on these now, you get your pixel codes. Where does this have to go? This has to go on your target page, okay? So the simplest scenario I can come up with is that you're making an offer here, all right? And if they purchase, it stops. If it doesn't purchase, you send them another message, okay, called time running out. If they do purchase, then you send them that final message, which is basically the same message as this. And then after a period of time, send them a third attempt saying, hey, time is running out. This is probably the most simplest way to use the pixel. So where does the pixel go? The pixel has to go on the thank you page of your purchase, okay? Until a visitor gets to that thank you page, this sequence is going to fire as you set it up. Now, to put a whole level of complexity to this, if you want to do this, I mean, we could do a whole training just on sequences. If you go into the conversion pixel and you look on this, each of these pages has its own unique tracking pixel. So if you come up with some cockamamie, funnel that they have to do certain things, each individual page can have its own trigger to move them onto a different thing. All right. All right, hold on one second as I check questions. Dave, I'm not quite sure what that is. Robert, sorry you missed it. Yes, I will make sure there's a replay of this, and probably most of you will probably want to go back through this. Yes. Whether, Linda, far as on my website, far as clicking on that whole option, yes, eventually it's going to redirect out to whatever page that you have set up. If you opened up the pop-up and you didn't click allow, it is going to redirect. And what I personally have set up right now is congratulations. I'm assuming that the person actually did get on the list, and I'm asking you now for your email address. David says, awesome. So the top link where I have a video, I could make it a sign up instead. Sure, I guess so. I would need to see what you're talking about, David. So let's get into this particular list sequence, okay? And we'll wrap this up here, okay? So here's the messages. Here's everything. I went in and actually added all these images back in. So I'm going to open these all up in different tabs. And these are all the messages associated with the queue, okay? So we're going to start off with this one, all right? And so this is how I would say us using this particular list. If I want to fire this off, let me change out a list. We'll use the Facebook list. Actually, we'll use the web list. Here it is, that one. Now, if you want to create an evergreen series, right, of messages, kind of like an autoresponder, you would check this box. So when someone gets on your list, this particular list, they would be entered into this series of messages that you have. Now, I do have some questions about this that I need to bring up with Sean. One is the expiration of notifications. So remember, when you're setting up a notification, there is an expiration. You just got to kind of keep that in mind. That does that play into a sequence? And if I confuse you, well, I confuse myself too. But I will get an answer for you and make it available in the group. All right. So that's the first message that we have. I'm going to hit update. And that kicks off the whole thing. Everything else is subsequence, all right? Everything is, we don't tie anything. Basically, there's a 1 hour delay. Thank you for your purchase. This is the, they've reached the destination. Here's another coupon for 10%. This one is time is running out. Right, the clock is ticking to save 20% off the purchase today. Click here, use this code. This is if they didn't make it to the thank you page, okay? And again, I'm going to drive them into a very specific page that I want them to buy something. I put a 2 hour delay here for this to fire off after the next. This is the third attempt, okay, of saying no. And finally, this is the thank you. If they got the second message, they would be put on that. So pretty much, I'm pretty much done what I want to go over with you folks tonight. So I'm going to go back to my presentation. And we went through most of this. I answered a lot of questions, but are there any other questions that I can get answered for you? Okay, as far as Facebook pages, Dave, you can't use the pop-up code. You have to use a direct link, okay? All right, you're not going to be able to put any type of JavaScript code into Facebook whatsoever. So you'll have to use a direct link. And so let me jump back over to Facebook. Where that goes is this sign up button, okay? It's the sign up button where you need to put this in. So if I go down and edit this button, I want you to notice the URL. This is for web notification here, okay? So when they click on this, they're going to be added to a list. So what I'm going to do, I already know that I'm on this list. I'm just going to hit save here. I'm going to run through this. Actually, I think it's the test button. I'm going through the test right now. It says, yeah, you're already on the list, which is good. They're not allowing for multiple subscribers. And it's redirecting where I want them. So Linda, you may recall, all my pop-ups take them to here where I want them to get on an email list, okay? Second, With the little ninja image, what is the size that the image has to be? Are you telling me that the little image is 20? What happens if it isn't transparent? Okay, Dave, that is in regards to when you're setting up your app. Okay, when you're setting up your app, let me get back over to that page. Quick away here. When you're coming over to this page, and let's get into the sample app details. As far as what has to be 1024 is this image, all right, on Facebook. Far as you're sending out notifications, it can be anything. I think this image is, I think 150 by 150. So hopefully I've answered that question for you. Okay. Any other questions? We're getting on to about an hour and a half of training. Since messages and add several lists. Okay, sent a message and add several lists to it. Every list member will see this message on the place where they have subscribed to. Lita, okay. Let's. Shade, since we have a new email sign up added, the redirect doesn't have to lead to the sign up, right? Again, depends. Depends what you personally want to do. I haven't made a decision whether or not I plan on using the pop-up opt-in feature at all. It's really going to be dependent upon what you want to do. Like I said at the beginning of this webinar, is I'll probably will be putting push notifications or these type of notifications on the back end of my email signups. So I'll probably go back to leading with email, and their thank you page will say, thank you very much for getting on our, hack alert list via email. To make sure that you don't miss anything, well, sign up for one of our notifications by clicking either here or here, for web, or here for Facebook. So. All right. Benedict, I'm glad I inspire you. Yeah, there's some great stuff here. I think this is some really good technology. I don't want to overuse it. I think we don't want to abuse this type of stuff. I think we all will get pretty sick of having alerts showing up on our screen all the time. I plan on using it, again, for pure content reasons, not really for any type of marketing kind of stuff. Just lead with content, lead with value, and everything else will follow. Yes, Benedict, I'll make sure there's a replay for everybody. Okay. And Mark, let's see what Mark's saying here. Mark is saying, I just had my wife subscribe to the Facebook list, then sent a notification to the list. She didn't receive it. I don't have it set up to send out a message, Mark, on my list. Okay. So yeah, that is a brand new feature that they just added in like the last couple days to be able to actually send off a message to the list. Okay, when someone subscribes. I personally do not have any of my list that way. If your wife subscribed to the Facebook list, the counts are right where the sample is where it's at now, and the web notification is still at 6. So yeah, I do not have messages going out. That may change. I may put a welcome message, but I have a question for Sean first before I use that feature. So, okay. All right. I am going to do one thing here, and I got a lot of pages here I got to close down. Okay, Dr. Jean was looking for this, and this is what I want to give you guys, okay? Is this cheat sheet for you and a quick link to the scripts that I went over in the training today. This is for post snippets. This is going to give you that real localized control where you either put the pop-up code or you put a direct link with a button. If you are more into just having a global code across your entire site, you're going to want to use a little plugin called Header and Footer. And this is where you can find where you can get this, okay? I just have one more thing I want you to do for me, and that is, if you could, complete the survey. One, I want to know how I did. Two, I want to continue to help you guys, okay? So I need to know a little bit more about you, what you're doing, how you plan on using this stuff. Like I said in the beginning of the webinar, I got over 19 years of experience. I've helped, small, very large companies with all this type of stuff. So these are all the areas I'm very skilled in, and I'm planning on doing training if you need some training here. Again, just put in your name and your email address and any comments you want to give me. And how do you get here? Well, if you can give me a second, I'm going to change out that live link again, and I'll make sure that you guys get this ASAP, okay? So it's been a pleasure. I've just updated the button. So if you go back over underneath your video, if you're watching this video on YouTube, if you can get back over to the website, there's a button, like I said, underneath the video player. Click on that. That's going to take you out to the survey. If you can, fill this out. I'd be greatly appreciated. And, it's been a pleasure. Okay. So I'm going to wrap this up. Just want to make sure I got all your questions answered. Did you go over to make false accounts? I don't even know what a false account is. Let me wrap these up. Give me 1 second. Okay. Okay. Okay, Benedict, beginning of the training, I basically said I wasn't going to be covering anything in regards to the bots. Here's what I'll say about the bots, okay? You are running a serious risk against the terms of services with most of these companies. Skype and Facebook for sure. You would definitely be in deep trouble with that. Okay, I'm going to jump down to this. Mark, Steve, where can I get the link to the cheat sheet? Mark, if you get back over to my website, okay, and you get over to where I have the show, I will have a link there for you. If you don't want to wait, you can fill out the survey. It will take you out to the survey out here. If you go out to ninjahacks.club/feedback, if you complete this feedback form, I'm immediately going to send you an email with a link over to this page. Okay. And I really would like the feedback, guys. This is something I'm going to be doing a lot of and doing different types of training. So this is how you can get this. So again, head over to ninjahacks.club/feedback and fill out this short survey, and that will then send you an email when you can get this, okay? Okay, where are those plugins you have mentioned? Okay, Lita, again, your plugins will be right here, okay? So again, go over to ninjahacks.club/feedback or click on the button just below the video. Okay, that's really helpful. Thanks, Shade, I appreciate it. Just one more thing, Steve. If someone clicks no, where do they go after that? Back to the page, or just curious? I have to test that, Dave. I'm assuming you're thinking no on a pop-up. I think if they say no, or cancel, it just closes the window. Joe, will the replay be available on this live feed URL? I believe that's where I'm going to put it, Joe. Yes. If not, I'll be sending you an email with a link to where the replay is going to be. Okay. What's going to happen is, it's going to probably take YouTube probably about an hour or so to compile this video. And once it's done compiling, I will make sure I get the replay up for everybody. Just wanted to hear someone speak in plain English. Doesn't stay one step notifications. The answers my questions. I'm not really. Thank you. You're welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for clarifying. Just okay. Can you use the pixel codes for a thank you or a message after a purchase on a system? When you say message, I'm assuming you could put it into the copy of another code, but I would put it on the thank you page of your sales. Where I think where the intent is for this, Alita, is for it to put it on the thank you page of the final destination of what you're trying to achieve. Okay. Shade, it should check. It's going out by a Gmail account, so it's probably going to end up. Hopefully, it ends up, not in your spam folder. If not, I'll make sure that everybody gets a direct link to the cheat sheet. This was really great. Thank you very much, everybody. Don't worry, I'll make sure everyone's covered. If you just can complete the survey, it would be very helpful for me. I will make sure that the replay is put together, and make sure that you all get access to these links over here, okay, in this cheat sheet. I'll definitely make sure this all lands in your hands, okay? So, all right, I'm going to wrap it up, and I bid you all a good night, and I'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye-bye.